On the news tonight, INEC filed 6-count charge against suspended Adamawa Rec Ari. President Tinubu to announce new dates for national census. And court grants Abba Kyari bail after 18 months in prison. Well, many thanks for joining us on News Now. I am Folashade Ogurinde. The Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has filed a 6-count charge against Hudu Yunusa Ari, the suspended resident electoral commissioner in Adamawa State. The charges were filed at the High Court in Yola, the state capital. In a statement on Thursday, INEC said it took the action after reviewing the case file from the police, which established a prima facie against the REC. Yunusa Ari was arrested by the police over his conduct during the governorship election in Adamawa State after he declared Aishatu Dahiru Binani of the All Progressives Congress (APC) as winner before the completion of the collation of results. On April 20, former President Muhammadu Buhari approved the suspension of the Adamawa REC pending the completion of investigation by the police. Our President Bola Ahmed Tinubu will announce new dates for the National Population and Housing Census that was postponed last April. The chairman of the National Population Commission, NPC Nasir Kwara, made a disclosure to State House correspondents after his delegation gave the president a full brief at the Aso Rock Presidential Villa in Abuja on Thursday. President Tinubu's meeting with Kyari comes 9 weeks after the census was postponed by the administration of former President Muhammadu Buhari. Despite the postponement, Buhari had directed the commission to continue preparation for the 2023 census in order to sustain the gains already recorded and provide an operational base for the incoming administration.
We may have to incur additional expenses if we stay much longer than necessary. But in this situation, we have given the President full brief, including the implication of, further delay in the conduct of the census. So we are very mindful, and Mr. President is very amenable to be able to entertain our requests. As for the expenditure of 200 billion, no doubt we have incurred that expenditure. Conducting a digital census is not cheap. And mind you, this is like a foundational census. Subsequent censuses will not be this expensive because we've established a frame that we can only be updating. And going forward, with improvement in the ICT, we will employ more methodologies that will save money for us.
To security matters, the Nigerian military says about 967 terrorists comprising of 82 adult males, 354 adult females, and 531 children surrendered to troops at different locations. The Deputy Director Coordination Defense Media Operations, Brigadier General Abdullahi Ibrahim, disclosed this on Thursday during the bi-weekly briefing on successes recorded by the armed forces of Nigeria and other security agencies across the 6 geopolitical zones of the country. Brigadier General Ibrahim explained that troops of Operation Hadinkai in the northeast zone of the country have continued to intensify operations against terrorists, including their logistics suppliers and collaborators.
The air component Operation Hadinkai conducted air interdiction operation in Jango in Borno State. The location was observed to be active with activities of terrorists. Accordingly, the location was bombarded, and following the feedback of information revealed that several terrorists were neutralized and their structures destroyed in the airstrike. Also, the 22nd and 26th of June 2023, the air component of Operation Hardin K conducted air interdiction operation in terrorist hideout in Tumbuk Shetu, Arena, and Chicken, a total hideout of the terrorists in Tumbuns in Borno State. In the operation, human intelligence reported movement of Islamic State of West Africa province terrorists. Thereafter, that led to a fight between the JNS function, in which further revealed that the location was severe with ammunitions, and it was used as a training ground for logistic hub of the Boko Haram terrorists and Islamic State of West African fighters and African fighters. Consequently, the location was bombarded with bombs, neutralizing several terrorists and destroying their structure in the airstrike. Similarly, between the 22nd and 27th of June 2023, a similar air interdiction operation was conducted at an identified terrorist location in Django in Mandara Mountain. In this location, intelligence and surveillance footage confirmed cluster of activities of Boko Haram structure. Accordingly, the target was bombarded. Following feedback revealed that several terrorists were neutralized with their structures destroyed during the operations.
The suspended Deputy Commissioner of Police, Abba Kyari, has been granted bail by an Abuja Federal High Court. Justice James Omotosho, in his ruling, said that the fact that Kyari and his team refused to escape when the prison was attacked, where about 90% of the inmates escaped, has proven that Kyari is ready to face any allegations against him. The former super officer was wanted by the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, NDLEA, for his alleged involvement in a 25 kg cocaine trade. He was then detained and brought before a judge who ordered his detention in Kuje prison in Abuja. In the wake of the latest flood alert by the National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, lawmakers have urged agencies of government to begin dredging of all canals to prevent flooding disaster. Nigeria's rainy season, which begins from March through September, poses high risk of flooding during torrential rainfalls in many states in the country. More details in this report. Flooding is one of Nigeria's biggest environmental problems. In 2022 alone, over 1.4 million people were displaced and 603 people lost their lives, while about 82,035 houses were damaged. As much as 332,327 hectares of land were also affected. Worried about a reoccurrence, lawmakers have asked relevant government agencies to release funds for dredging of canals across the country, as well as revisit the proposed construction of Dason Hausa Dam to take in the flood waters from Latgo Dam in Cameroon.
Our approach to this normally is always to scratch the problem on the surface, which we do palliatives, we give them mattresses, give them food stuff. But Mr. President, what our people go through as a result of flooding is better imagined. They lose so much money in billions, and most of this money indeed are monies they borrow from banks to farm. Their farmland gets washed every year.
There is a need for a long-term measure that will address the issue of flooding in Nigeria. One of such is the creation of dams, construction of dams to absorb some of these excess waters.
The climate change and the global warming have led to increase in temperature, thus affecting the coastlines, which has resulted in an increase in the volume of water in the sea. Accordingly, the state is hereby asked to resolve by constituting an ad hoc committee to liaise with relevant ministries, departments, and agencies to put in place erosion prevention and management mechanisms.
Weeks ago in June, over 100 families were affected by flash flood in Trademore Estate in the Lugbe area of the Federal Capital Territory in an intense rainfall that lasted for about 3 hours. Affected residents lost valuables worth millions of naira, as well as the lives of 3 people.
I can't even say how much, because people lost things in millions. cars were lost, houses, things in the house, lives were lost, So how much can you pay for a life that is lost, These things are things you can actually get and buy, but what about somebody's life? Can you pay? How much do you think we can pay for life? So honestly, you can't quantify how much you can pay for this.
Actually, I can't guess it like that. So, but many things spoil inside. You not get choice. Life pass everything.
For experts, the lack of responsibility on the part of government and individuals is a key reason for the flooding disasters.
There are those areas that are close to the rivers, which are known as the floodplains. Definitely the people who built houses there, they should have been advised not to. In fact, they shouldn't have been allowed to do it, because we know they are floodplains. Just because you didn't see any flood for 4 or 5 years doesn't mean that the flood won't come. There's a history of those areas flooding. It's very unfortunate. And this is the price that we're paying for this lack of responsibility in terms of, some of the people responsible for making the decisions in governance.
Meanwhile, more floods are expected between 4th and 8th of July 2023 in 14 states and 31 communities across Nigeria as a result of heavy rainfall. Folashade Ogurinde, TV360 News. We'll take a break here, but still to come. Tinubu signs executive orders, suspends 5% excise tax on telecoms. We'll bring you details of the story and more rights after this break. Welcome back. Now here is a recap of some of our top stories tonight. The Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) has filed a 6-count charge against Hudu Yunusa Ari, the suspended resident electoral commissioner in Adamawa State. Yunusa Ari was arrested by the police over his conduct during the governorship election in Adamawa State after he declared Aishatu Dahiru Bunani of the All Progressives Congress (APC) as winner before the completion of the collation of results. We also told you that President Bola Tinubu will announce new dates for the National Population and Housing Census that was postponed last April. The chairman of the National Population Commission, NPC, Nasiru Kwara, made the disclosure to State House correspondents after his delegation gave the president a full brief at the Aso Rock Presidential Villa in Abuja on Thursday. Well, in case you missed any of our news bulletin, for more updates, you can catch us on Limex World TV or log on to our website on www.tv360nigeria.com. You can also follow us on our social media platforms on Twitter, Instagram and YouTube at TV360 Nigeria. On Facebook, we are at TV360 Online. Welcome back. Let's join Simisola Adigo now for more stories and business. Simi, what's the latest?
Thank you very much, Folashade. Welcome to Business News. President Bola Tinubu has signed 4 executive orders, including the suspension of the 5% excess tax on telecommunication services, as well as the excess duties escalation on locally manufactured products. The President also signed the Finance Act Order of 2023, which now defers the commencement date of the changes contained in the Act from May 23rd to September the 1st, 2023. According to the Presidency, this will ensure adherence to the 90 days minimum advance notice for tax changes as contained in the 2017 National Tax Policy.
Upon taking over the reins of government, the president promised to run a government that will not make life difficult for Nigerians or asphyxiate or stifle corporate entities in spite of the challenges the federal government In spite of these challenges, this federal government is irrevocably committed to this pledge. And you all recall that prior to the advent of this government, certain tax changes were introduced in the dying days of the last administration via the Customs Excise Tariff Variation Amendment Order 2023, referred to as the order, published on the 8th of May, year 2023, and the Finance Act 2023, which was signed into law on the 28th of May. That was a day before the inauguration of the new government. Among others, the order introduced new excise duties on single-use plastics, that's SUPs, higher excise duties on some locally manufactured products, including alcoholic beverages and tobacco products, and green tax by way of import tax adjustment on certain categories of imported vehicles.
Mark Zuckerberg, the creator of newly launched microblogging app Threads, says the new text-based social media platform has recorded 10 million sign-ups in the first 7 hours. On July 6, the founder of Meta, that's the parent company of Facebook, Instagram, and WhatsApp, launched Threads to rival Elon Musk-owned Twitter. The launch comes days after Musk announced that a temporary limit has been imposed on the number of daily posts open to users on Twitter. We'll take a short break here and return with Stock Market Report. Nigeria's equities market strengthened its journey into the green zone on Thursday by 0.81%, gaining 270 billion naira as investors' positive sentiments persist. Now, regarding the performance of NGX market indices, the all-share index increased as well from preceding day's low to 62,019 points, while market capitalization hit the 33.7 trillion naira mark. Now, leading the league of 54 advancers are Corn Oil and MRS, both closed at 102 naira and 91 naira respectively. Market breadth shows a 543% improvement in volume, 822% improvement in turnover, and 1% improvement in deals. Now, global index stocks, on the other hand, was on track for its biggest one-day percentage decline so far in 2023, while Treasury yields rose after a surge in U.S. private payrolls fueled worries that interest rates would stay higher for longer. Now, on that note, all our three select stocks, that's the U.S. FTSE, UK's FTSE, U.S. Dow Jones, and Japan's Nikkei, traded in the bears. Now, that's the stock market report. Back to you, Folashade.
Well, many thanks to Ms. Salah for that update. And now, on the foreign scene, a white powder found inside the White House late on Sunday was identified by Washington's Fire Department and Emergency Services as cocaine. According to Secret Service, the powder was found in workspace within the West Wing, which is accessible to tour groups, leading to the temporary closing of the White House complex. The Secret Service is expected to lead a full review of how the substance got into the White House and also examine cameras and entrance logs to determine who had access to the area where it was found. However, at the time of the substance was found, President Joe Biden and his family were at Camp David in Maryland. Well, up next is Entertainment Report on News Now.
Award-winning singer Tiwa Savage is set to become the first female Afrobeats artist to headline the 13,000 Wembley OVO Arena in the United Kingdom. Giving details of what fans should expect of the historic event slated for November 26, Tiwa said her performance will be unforgettable. Other artists who have shut down the Wembley OVO Arena are Madonna, Jay-Z, Ed Sheeran, Adele, among others. Tiwa also became the first Nigerian artist to perform at a British royal event after thrilling guests at the King Charles III's coronation concert and big launch in March. The singer admitted to being nervous, adding that her first few seconds of a performance at Windsor Castle was fraught with nerves. More than 10 million people have signed up into the new Instagram app Threads within the first few hours of its launch, with accounts already active for celebrities such as Jennifer Lopez, Shakira, and Hugh Jackman. The app, which was introduced as a clear spin-off of Instagram, offers a built-in audience of more than 2 billion users, sparing the new platform the challenge of starting from scratch. Threads, which went live on Apple and Android app stores in 100 countries on Wednesday, will also run with no ads for now, but its release in Europe has been delayed over data privacy concerns. Threads is the biggest challenger yet to Elon Musk-owned Twitter, which has seen a series of potential competitors emerge. That's all for entertainment on News Now.
In sports, Paris Saint-Germain president Nasser Al-Khalifa has insisted that superstar forward Kylian Mbappe must sign a new contract if he wants to remain at the club next season. However, France striker Mbappe has told PSG that he would not extend his contract with them beyond 2024. But he later clarified that he had not asked the French club to allow him to move to Spanish giant Real Madrid, who have in the past tried and failed to land a World Cup winning forward. And that's the size of our news bulletin. Many thanks for watching. I am Folashade Ogurinde. Bye for now.